how do you have a life when work is your life? And I see Joe Jonas like right in front of me. We ended up like jumping through a bush.
I don't feel stable in my career.
Definitely don't feel stable. That's for sure. Mentally stable, job stable.
He's working a lot, and it's a struggle between us sometimes. In every relationship, you have to find that balance of like when you make time for yourself.
So my career is always number one. When he broke up with me, he said, you know, I can't handle your life. Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode of Millennial Girls, sponsored by Formula Z Cosmetics. We love them. We'll be talking about them later.
Yeah, we do.
And guys, it's June. What? This is crazy. I can't believe it's June and we're almost on episode 10.
Do you really think we're like still in quarantine? They're saying that this is kind of weird, but like bars and clubs
Absolutely
in like
not.
northern Florida are opening up.
Nope. Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
We're now on the next level of Jumanji. That's what I'm convinced, because hurricane season has started for all of you not in Florida. So
we are
on the next level.
I saw Jumanji in Target and I was like, should I buy it? But like,
maybe
what
if you
will
buy
happen?
it and we play it, it will reverse the effects.
I was like, what will happen to me and the world?
Honestly, maybe we shouldn't. We are not the two that need to play that game. So actually, someone else can buy it.
Wait, have you
maybe
seen
someone listening?
Have you seen
buy
the
it,
remakes?
play it? Let me know.
Have you seen the remakes of Jumanji? The ones?
No,
with, like,
but isn't Nick Jonas? Isn't it? Can I be Nick Jonas? I still can't even get over the fact that we had like the best New Year's. I mean, I did at least. I was with Natasha. She had a good time.
No, it was fun.
We saw the Jonas Brothers and met them. And it was just, I was having the best day of my life.
We haven't told the Jonas Brothers story. Why don't we tell it? It all goes back to when Racquel was a young lad.
Racquel was a wee whippersnapper. We had found out they were playing the Fontainebleau for New Year's. We ended up giving away tickets to see them. Basically, it was like, well, if we're giving away tickets, I obviously need to be there.
It was a dual night. So at the Fontainebleau in Miami,
right,
which is like basically
the
like
hotel.
Yes, it's one of the hotels. It has Club LIV inside, which is like one of the biggest clubs and most memorable and most famous in the world.
Right.
Marshmello was supposed to be closing out the new year at LIV. So we had this whole plan of like, we're going to go see the Jonas Brothers first in the Fontainebleau. So they have like the pool area. Outside. And then they were going to broadcast it on Ryan Seacrest's Racquel New Year's Eve. So wait, we'll get to that in a second.
We wrote our list out. If you guys haven't noticed by listening to our other episodes, we make like our dream list of what we want to happen that night, because we manifest and put it up into the universe.
Yes.
So also, mind you, this was before the Martin Garrix interview happened and before Music Week didn't happen. So we were already like, okay, we obviously need to manifest because we manifested EDC and got to talk to Steve Aoki in rehab. So we were already coming up with our list of what we wanted to happen. Our grand prize was to give away a meet and greet with Marshmello to see them at the club. So my friends, the second they found out the Jonas Brothers were performing New Year's, were like, we're going, it's happening. They bought tickets. They're all in. And so we had booked a hotel. I had booked a hotel with my friend Marissa and Natasha. You know, I'm a happy unicorn because I know I'm going to see the Jonas Brothers now at New Year's.
Yes.
Natasha was like, I think we can go to dinner at the same place. They're at dinner. Do you want to go? I know you're with your friends. And I was like, sorry, friends. Like, I'm bye. Like, I was out. I'm normally not that person. I'm normally, you know, we stick with the squad. But I in this case, I was like, yeah, sorry. And we had to do our own thing anyway, too, because we were giving away tickets and had to meet winners. And so my friends knew anyway that I was kind of doing my own thing, but I was sleeping in the hotel with them at, you know, that night.
It was honestly like a bonus for us to see the Jonas Brothers live. But we were still like on and working that night because we had the meet and greet after the Jonas Brothers. So we were going to meet the listeners for the first time. And then
so we were still working on New Year's.
Go and try to, you know, coordinate the whole like meet and greet with Marshmello, because it was between us at that point. Like I had to be coordinating with the artist relation coordinator for like all live story, everything that happens here in Miami.
Yeah, she was handling that aspect and I was handling the winter. So it was like there was so much going on still, but we were like, no, you know what? We still need to have fun tonight. It's New Year's Eve. Like we've worked so hard. And neither of us took a vacation during the holidays because we knew, and well, we wanted festival season to, you know, be our vacation and have fun. But
here we are. Anyways, Racquel and I met, and if you're not from Miami, there's a hospitality group called Groot Hospitality, and Dave Gretman is the owner of Groot Hospitality, and he's the one that basically runs Club LIV, Club Story, and a bunch of other restaurants, including Swan. And this is the first time that I'm ever publicly saying this, but my fiance is the director of operations for Groot Hospitality. So we do have an in and a connection there. And he's
great.
Andrea's telling me that the Jonas Brothers are going to have dinner at Swan tonight.
I literally almost dropped dead, y'all. Like it was a bad situation. I literally was like, what?
I was like, so we're going. Like, it's not even a question. Like, you know, do you want to go and see?
I was like, what do I? Yes. Like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I know you're gonna do. I was like, no, I'm with you. What do you mean? Like, they already know we're working and doing our own thing. No. Bye.
So we meet outside of Swan, and again,
I was like, I'm ready.
You guys, this is New Year's Eve, so it's packed. Anytime that there's, you know, like Super Bowl weekend or Miami Music Week, or in this case, New Year's Eve. And when you have, which other one Art Basel. Like, these are the places where every single celebrity you're going to see in Miami is going to go and have dinner at these places. So we walk in. I'm like, I message Andrea, and he's like, I got a table for two right next to the Jonas Brothers.
And Natasha didn't tell me. She didn't tell me. He didn't tell me. We, like, walk in, and I'm just like, you know, I don't really care. I'm also so hungry at this point. I, like, hadn't eaten all day because we were so busy at work. So... because we were recording for New Year's Day too, so we had to get all of our stuff done. So I had to do 4 shows in one day, because I had to do my show for the next day, and the takeover and the takeover for the next day.
I forgot.
So I was like, I had gotten out of work way later than I even anticipated. So my friends were already at the hotel drinking when I was like, hi guys, like, hi, I need to get ready. So, and I was doing everyone's makeup, of course, too, because, you know, mood. But so I was like, I need to eat something before I pass out.
Wait, speaking of makeup.
Formula Z Cosmetics, we love them sponsoring our episodes. First of all, the bag is so cute, and I am wearing the Formula Z Cosmetics, the Luxe Diamond Gloss in Prodigy, and it's just our color. We love it so much. We always say it's pretty much the Millennial girl's color because it's pink, and it just goes perfectly on like every lipstick I have. So
it's literally my favorite lip gloss at the moment, the Diamond Gloss, and I have it in Prodigy as well. It's amazing. It has like little diamondy, like I say diamond, but it has like little glitter speckles in it, but it doesn't leave that texture on your lip. And I'm actually wearing the Mission Z lipstick. Well, it's kind of like a lip gloss if you're watching on YouTube.
It's like a lip stain.
It's like a stain, but it's matte.
Yeah.
So I put just like a touch of it on, and it's really pretty. It's kind of like a mauve-y color. It goes really well with like a brown eyeshadow look, which is what I'm wearing right now. And yes, the Mission Z lipstick is actually 30% of the proceeds. If you get the Mission Z lipstick, go towards the Trevor Project, which helps out LGBTQ community. So we love it so much.
Which is perfect because it's Pride Month. It's June is Pride Month. And if you want to check out their products, go on over to their website, their social media. We have them tagged on ours as well. And if you use the code Millennial Girls, you get 10% off your entire purchase, shipping worldwide. So you guys got to go check it out. But okay, so we you can totally visualize this too. So we're walking into Swan, and I'm not expecting anything. I'm like, I need food before I die. So her fiance walks us like in an area, and first of all, I am blind. okay, I don't wear contacts. I need to go to the eye doctor. I've been putting off the eye doctor for so long. I was supposed to go after Music Week, and obviously everything happened, so I couldn't go. So I still haven't gone to the eye doctor. Can't see far. Can barely see close now. It's just age is bad. So don't feel 27, but my eyes feel it. So we sit down, and like I put my purse down, and like I'm just trying to like get my boundaries together, and my friends are texting me like, what time are you gonna get here? The winners we're coordinating with, we're still working, mind you, like we said, New Year's. And I like put my purse down, and I look up and I see Joe Jonas like right in front of me, and I literally am just like like
literally like touching
Natasha's
distance.
never seen me quiet,
like my chair
ever.
So like we had Racquel, because it was a really tight night. Like there were extra tables put in, and well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but they were like moved around, let's say, like in a way that like everybody's like really like close together, because again, it's
like, New Year's Eve. What do you
one
know,
of the most
do?
pop-in nights of the year. So if not the pop-in night of the year. So
yeah.
My chair was facing Racquel, but like I was like basically like shoulder to shoulder with Kevin Jonas.
Yes.
And then Racquel was facing me and all the Jonas Brothers and their families, because each one of them were like with their families. This would be hilarious if like one day they hear this episode, because
hi Joe.
they're like, hey guys, just so you know, we're talking about your whole damn family on New Year's Eve. But anyway, so at this point, I think Racquel was like, she looked at the cocktail list and she was like, yeah, this one sounds great. Can I have like 5 of those?
No, because Andrea comes over and he's like, how you doing? I'm like, I need a drink right now, like the biggest one right now. And I literally was just like I couldn't form words, because it's just one of those things. Like, you know, you've seen them in concert, you've been obsessed with them for so long, and they're just like they're chilling. They're normal people. They're eating dinner next to you, and you're just like, and I've had that happen in LA and normal, but like it's the Jonas Brothers, so it was just so insane. And we ended up meeting Kevin because her fiance introduced us, and they were getting ready to leave, and they're very nice people. Everyone at Swan is very nice, and their whole team was very nice, and it was just like cool to be like, hey, I'm Kevin, and I'm like, yeah, in my head I'm like, yeah, I know who you are, like, nice to meet you. So
right. And we're like, we're about
just,
to see you live right now.
right, I'm like, and I'm about to follow you to the Fontainebleau because I'm gonna see you. So this is when it got really even more interesting. So
and if anybody's wondering like how they were in person, I mean, we weren't introduced to everybody. Like she said, it was just Kevin, but he was a sweetheart. Like everybody was a sweetheart. They had actually, I remember, I think they were all drinking beer too. Like they had specifically like got like beer for them or something. Like they were really chill.
They were
all with
dudes.
their families. Like each one of them was with their girl and their like each one of their individual families, or like their immediate families.
It was just really nice.
Yeah. They were sweet.
And so we're looking at our clock and we're like, we gotta go because traffic is bad and they're going on at whatever time. So I ended up, honestly, by some grace of God, I really don't even know how we ended up meeting up with all of my friends, because there was so many people. Cell phone service was horrible.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else, when there's that many people in one location, like, you're gonna not have good. We ended up running into people. I was like, wow, okay, we're picking up people as we go. Great, awesome, good. So if you know anything about me, I finesse the shit out of situations. It just happened. It's a gift. It really is. Everyone always says it's just really a gift. We hear them start playing and we were not close. And I was like, no, we gotta get closer. We ended up like jumping through a bush.
Wait, mind you, before going into this, one of the many goals that we had that night was we are going to somehow end up on Ryan Seacrest's Rockin' New Year's Eve.
I was like, I have my intro. I'm ready. I'm ready to throw it to you. Ready to throw it to you, Ryan. Like,
Racquel was like, she was like, I'm getting the microphone. Like, we're going to say something. Like, we were ready. Like, that was going to be like, we're going to be on this damn show. Like, that was part of our...
Oh, I was ready to like be the new correspondent for New Year's Rockin' Eve. Like, don't you worry, guys. Some guy taps me on the shoulder, and I like look up, and it's this security guard. So how it was set up was there was a secure area in the front, kind of like VIP of this area by the stage. And I don't know if it was just for VIP or to fill it for Rockin' New Year's Eve, because that was what the camera angle was getting. Anyway, the guy taps me on the shoulder and he goes like this. And I was like, okay. And then I went like this to our whole group and was like, they're all with me. And he was like, okay, because whatever. And I grabbed Natasha. Do you remember this? I literally grab you and I pull her and she's like, where are we going? And I was like, to the front.
So we see the camera guy, like with the huge camera, like, you know, from
I was like,
broadcast television. And we were like standing next to like that area where just like, because I was like texting my dad. I was like, we might be on TV, watch Racquel New Year's Eve so I can wave to you. Because like all my family's back in San Diego in California. So I was like, that would be funny. Like we can all spend it and they can see us on TV. Like it was a funny thing. I mean, like you don't get anything out of it. It's just fun. So Racquel like drags us all.
I tell you 10 people, literally 10 of us. I drag one. They're all like, we're making a chain to go to the front. When I say we were in the front, stage face, but the stage was like 10 feet up. It was really high.
It was huge.
I don't know why. So we were literally like basically doing a back bend.
So that nobody can like touch them and crawl up and whatever.
Yeah. So it was just like the best night. Joe looked into my soul. It was just great.
Into my soul. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And it was an open bar.
Honestly, like for a live, they were amazing. Like it was a really great show live. I have to say, like
it was
and for seeing them for the first time too. I mean, mind you, it's kind of like when you sit in the front row at a movie theater. Like we were like looking all the way up because the stage was so high. But it was great. And then after, who closed out the show?
Frank Walker.
Yeah.
So that was our first introduction to him, and I love him. He's so great and such a good DJ. And he's killing it. We're like, who is this? So we like go back to the front of the stage as we're trying to meet up with the winners now to go to our next adventure of the night. Yeah. And it's Frank Walker. And I was like, oh my God, he's so good. And it was just so amazing. And even my friends who stayed and watched this whole set, they were like, he's dope. He's sick. I'm like, I know.
We were literally like, who is that? Because the music started playing and we were like, this is so good. Like we needed to know. So we went over to the stage and then, we figured out that it was Frank.
It was Frank Walker. Yeah, I mean, and then fast forward to me Skype interviewing him and telling him it was such a good set. And he's like, oh, thanks. He said he got vertigo from being that high up.
Afterwards, we did the meet and greet and
with Marshmello.
Yeah, but then we had
they had a lot of fun. Austin, Caitlin, what's up? Shout out to you guys.
What's up? Yeah, no, it was
super
great. Fun. It was really great meeting them, and we all had like great rapport.
You know, we were working on New Year's. What I think the biggest misconception about being in this industry is, or even like social media or anything of that sort, is you're always working. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are always like, wow, you're always working when they finally see it. Because, you know, New Year's I was working and other friends were working too because they do social or whatever, but we were doing social for the station. We were doing the meet and greet, obviously, with Marshmello. We were still trying to, you know, network and stuff. And it's like you kind of take a step back and ask yourself, you know, how do you have a life when work is your life? And for me, I'm single, and that's half the time why I am single, because people don't understand this. But you know, for Natasha, I feel like this is definitely it's a good spectrum of this episode right now because you are engaged. So you do have to but you have to figure out how to balance the two. And I definitely still haven't figured it out clearly because single.
Oh yeah, it's still a struggle. Like just because I'm engaged, it doesn't mean that we don't struggle with that even like on a daily basis because yes, I'm busy, but my fiance's busier. So it's a lot. Like it's a lot. And I know like Racquel was saying, and I feel like a lot of girls these days that are very, you know, like work oriented and independent and, you know, like hustle. It's really hard to get into a relationship because it takes time and attention. And especially in this age where, you know, obviously we've evolved, but
right.
In this age, it's the time where you want to make something of yourself, you know? So whether that be when you're 27 years old or 32 or 35, I mean, a lot of people that I look up to in media that even when I watch like people, I always look at people when they interview. Like that's just something that I do. I like study them. Mm-hmm. So like even today, somebody sent me a link to this video of this woman interviewing somebody else. And I was like, analyzing how she asks questions, because she's very to the point, and especially for television, I mean, you got to be to the point. Like, you don't have time to mess around. You have like the 2 minutes or the 5 minutes to speak. So, they're like in their 40s. They're like 42. So it's like, you know, do you want to call it like that's your make it moment? I mean, you never know. Like, it could take up until then. And it doesn't mean, oh, okay, be single till you're 40.
That stresses me out.
No, that's not what I mean. But, you know, I can't say, at least speaking personally, I don't feel stable in my career. I don't. I still, well, right. And
we don't have jobs currently. So, I mean, yeah, we haven't really publicly said it, but we're furloughed, and I don't know if we're going back to the station. So definitely don't feel stable. That's for sure. So, mentally stable, job stable.
Clearly, Racquel and I both feel the same way, right? So basically what I'm trying to get to is it takes time, especially with, you know, the transition, and whatever your goal is in the career. For us, we want to get to a certain level and obviously make a certain income, and we're not there yet. So until that day, it's kind of like, is that the moment where you have time to give to others? Who knows, right? But I'm 29. I'm going to turn 30 in November. I'm a Scorpio baby, love it or hate it. Andrea and I had both agreed, I think like last year, that high season in Miami is basically like kind of starts to kick off in September, but it really starts blowing up. Like Art Basel is like the boom December. Of high season, which is in the beginning of December. But like September is when season starts, and then like when winter hits, that's when we're already in high season, because everybody that's in the winter, up in the north in New York, you know,
the snowbirds,
the northeast coast and Canada, and you know, everywhere that's winter, they come to Miami, right? So
because it's warm,
it's warm, and it's not hurricane season anymore, and it's not blazing hot like it is in the summer. So that's our high season. So it technically starts in November and it goes till like March. Basically, like after Music Week is over.
I was gonna say Music Week.
That's when it starts to get to low season, which is like when you're hitting summertime. So we had both agreed. Hot. We had both agreed that we're never ever gonna think of ever traveling or vacation or family or anything during high season. Like, I made that commitment. I was like, it sounds really depressing, but I'm being honest. Forget about Thanksgiving, forget about Christmas, forget about, you know, New Year's is work time for both of us. My birthday's in November too, so, you know, just putting that out there. So it's a lot of sacrifice, and it was really hard for me at first when we were in the relationship, because I was doing hospitality with him for a period, and I had to give up those things for the first time, and it was really hard because I was used to spending every year Christmas with my family, or every other Thanksgiving, or so. Like, I had given up Thanksgiving a few years before, but I always did some kind of holiday with the family. And so that was the first time that I had never done that ever. So it was really hard for me, because I was like, wow, I'm not with them this time. And I felt like, you know, kind of almost like bad. Like I felt like, oh, my relationship is like more than my family, but it's like, no, I mean, again, like, we're getting married. So this is my new family. Like, it's just that's part of growing up. Like, sorry, it's part of it. So anyways, now getting to, you know, we're getting to like supposed low season. It's like, not really. We basically lost 2020 again, because now everything's opening up and everybody wants to party, or at least the locals, you know? I'm not saying people are going to be flying and traveling like they would in the fall winter time, but with COVID and everything, now we've kind of like lost another year, and I'm like, it's a lot. Like, he's working a lot, and it's a struggle between us sometimes, because I'm like, wow, you know, can we have like one moment for ourselves? Again, mind you, maybe I might sound needy or selfish, or, you know, it might sound that way, but especially with COVID, there was a period where obviously he was home and working from home, and I was still going to the station. So when I'd come home, we were like always together. But I don't know. I mean, I would hope anyone listening would understand, like, you want to do things together too. Like, being at home in pajamas and like watching Netflix is...
And you're both working too. You were still you were doing this. He's still working on Zoom calls, and it's not like you were just watching Netflix every day all day eating bonbons. Like, that was not happening at all whatsoever. We were up until freaking 3 a.m. figuring out how to start a podcast.
No,
like,
for sure. And at the point when we started the podcast, like, he was already going to the venues for, like, little things here and there. So the time, it was long that we were both kind of, like, quarantined. But again, like, we were both still working. So, yeah, it's really difficult to find that balance even now. And sometimes, he knows. I beg for it sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, when I get to my 30th birthday, like, are we going to be able to do something together? Or am I going to go, like, with my friends to do something? Because I want to do something when I'm, like, it's my 30th birthday.
Oh, you are 100% doing something. Too bad. Like,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's really not easy to find that balance. And again, it depends on, like, what kind of relationship you want to have. Because, of course, you know, I was attracted to him. One of the many reasons I was attracted to him is that he is a career-oriented guy, and he's not, like, you know, latched on to me. That, like, 200%. But at the same time, you know, I think in every relationship you have to find that balance of, like, when you make time for yourselves and, like, really getting fulfillment out of it. But, like, another thing is, like, being, like, intimate as far as conversation, presence, and, like, doing fun things together. Like, I'm a person that, like, I like to do things with the other person.
100%.
I like to do new things, and I just wish to do them with him. So sometimes it's really difficult to make the time for it. He would be, I guess, in this case, I mean, kind of like Racquel and him would maybe, like, relate more in that sense, where it's like career. And it's not that I don't give up my relationship for my career.
Yeah, no, I mean, but I think, you know, you said you have to compromise, and he's compromised too, obviously. We're in no way, shape, or form, believe me, I call them mom and dad. It's not like Natasha's given it up and he hasn't. They do still, and I feel like you guys are still continuing to figure it out, you know what I mean? As more time goes by and a global pandemic, you're, you know, with each other, this is happening, you have to figure shit out, or else it's not.
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, I mean, he's the financial support, obviously, of the relationship. So, of course, he has to work. Like, it is what it's not like I'm like, oh, you know, don't work for me. Not at all. But it's like, can you find a little time? Like, a little extra time to do, you know, whatever it is. So, like, in your case, Racquel, and I know that a lot of career-oriented and goal-oriented and independent ladies can relate to this, is like, how, in your case, how has it been where you've had to, let's say, give up the relationship, or you put that as number 2 to your career?
So my career is always number 1. The second you meet me, whether it's a friend, a potential, like, love interest, anything, you are number 2, which is I don't know if that's bad to say, but I'm honest about that. And you, even if you just meet me out as a, you know, person at a random bar, like, you can instantly tell I'm very career driven. I mean, we created a podcast. I always go back to that, but I'm like, we literally could have taken this free time and slept and done nothing and just, like, watched movies, but we're creating something of our own. So for me, it's always been that way. I've been that way since I can remember. And my last relationship I was in, and I tried very, very hard. He when he broke up with me, he said, you know, I can't handle your life. I can't handle this whole thing. And I was like, bye,
but
peace.
So
you're not it.
Go in depth. So he can't handle what exactly?
At that point, this is when hockey season was ending last year, and I had kind of known that was the end of that chapter with them. And so I was very stressed and, you know, trying to figure out what was happening next. And I was still teaching dance. So I am psycho. Like,
but, like, does that mean that, like, you didn't have time to see each other? Or
no, we totally, when I tell you, it was so funny. I was just having this conversation with my friend Katie the other night, and she was like, Racquel, I am so proud of you for that relationship, because you tried so hard. Like, that is the hardest you've tried with anyone. And which I think it's an age thing too, because I was finally like, you know, okay, I'm not 22 anymore. I should, you know, I'm going to try, and you have to try and balance it if you want a relationship. So we had figured out, he had worked all the time too. He was a workaholic. So I was like, oh, perfect. Like, we're both on the same wavelength. We know work comes first, which is fine. And we had kind of created a schedule of when we would see each other. Like, weekends were pretty good. During the week was hard because during the week I would be teaching at night. I taught dance at night. And then if I wasn't at dance, I had a hockey game, which is also at night, and we would end very late. And obviously he woke up super early for work. So it was just one of those things that we were like, okay, weekend is like when we can spend time together and make it work. And even if I did have a game or something, we would go to dinner after, hang out type of thing. So we were making it work. But I remember we went to a Marlins game for his birthday, and no one was at the game. Sorry, Marlins. Like, it was a pretty empty stadium. It was opening weekend too. It was like opening weekend too, which was so sad. But I'd gotten free tickets because I knew people. You know, when you work the industries, you know each other. So I'd gotten free tickets, and so we went, and I had people texting me. They're like, "Oh my God, you're here! Like, I want to come say hi." And I was running into Fox Sports people, and it was just, you know, I had to be on. And you always, as a personality or a media or a public figure, you always have to be on, which people don't realize. Like, you can never be a drunk, wasted, you know, girl out. Like, you don't know who's going to see you. You really don't. And I mean, if that's your shtick, if you can, like, if you want that reputation, go for it. But that's just not me. And I like to go out. I like to have fun, but I'm not like puking with my head first in the dumpster.
So
like that's not
in
me.
This scenario, what do you think bothered him? Like, I don't know if he actually told you specifically or if it's just a matter of you having to figure it out, but do you think it bothered him that like everybody knows, like, you never have like your own intimate time, or is it the fact that you're like really popular and he's not, or like what I think
it was a bunch of different things. And like, obviously he knew who I was when we met out at a bar after a game, and he knew who I was because he goes to games a lot. So that right there, I'm normally like, because, you know, people have a certain idea of you, but that's just once you're a public figure, people are going to know who you are. So, but he was super cool about it. When we had first met, he was like, oh yeah, like I knew you looked familiar, blah, 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 blah. And his sister is in theater and acting and, you know, wants to go that whole realm and wanted to move to LA and do that whole thing. So he was like, oh, I understand. Like, I get it that, you know, you have to be always on in the spotlight, but it's a different of someone saying it and being in that light. And so, you know, for me, I had even told him when we first started dating, I was like, listen, normally, like, I'm spending a decent amount of time with you. Like, normally in the middle of hockey season, we are not spending this much time together. I was like, so we actually met at kind of a good time, at least on my end of things, because I am able to spend more time with you. You know, like, you go through seasons of life. It happens. There's busier times, there's slower times. Like, you know, you had just said, Natasha, you kind of have to figure it out. You know when high season is here and you're not gonna be able to spend as much time together. So my whole thing is like, be honest with me. If you have a situation or if you have a problem and I'm the same way, I'm gonna bring it up just because communication is key. I communicate for a living. Let's just be easy and on that level. So I feel like he was saying things and he was, you know, saying things like, no, I get it, I understand it. But like, once you're actually in it and eyes are always on you and now your relationship, it's different. So that was one thing where he was like, wow, you always have to be on. I'm like, yeah, I told you, like, you always have to be on. And even when we would go out, like, people would be obviously coming up to me like, oh my God, hey, how are you? I talk to every single person on the planet. So he's a very private person. He doesn't even have social media. So it obviously was affecting him. When we had first started dating, I was like, this is actually probably better that he doesn't have social media and he's not in the spotlight, because it's a nice balance. But it ended up just not working on, you know, when we broke up, it was just, there wasn't even like discussion. Like, it was just like, I can't handle your life. You need someone who can, you know, and we had conversations, like a weird conversation, like the week prior, that was insecurity on his end was coming out. I always say, this is my life and I'm used to being at events. I'm used to doing all this and covering them. And I don't know. It was just, if you're not meant for that life or you're not used to it, then it really, if you don't understand it, it bothers you too. And I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends are single and hustlers too. And they are the same way. Like, they've tried dating people and making it work. And flying to their city that they live in if they're in it just, you have to find a person who understands it. And I always say that. And my best friend Jordan, he is always saying, you know, you need someone who understands your life, not who just says they do, who actually can handle it. Because at some point, obviously I'm hoping our careers blow up or the podcast blows up and we're going to be on another level of success and it's going to be a whole nother notch, right?
Yeah,
so what
sure.
you have now, if you can't handle it, you're not going to be able to handle it when we're at that next level. So I think that's just the hardest thing. And for me, I'm very hesitant with that too, because, you know, I could move to LA tomorrow. We can move to New York tomorrow. So that too is just like another thing that you always have. I always have, at least, I don't know if you do, but I do have that in the back of my mind. I'm just like, what if I move to LA tomorrow? Like, bye, you know?
Oh, my natural instinct is, see, I like new things. Like, who knows? Maybe it's a millennial quality. Maybe it's, you know, that I'm a horse in Chinese zodiac. Who knows? That's the funny thing. Like, so that's the contrast between him and I too. Like, he's a very methodical person. But at the same time, like, now that I am in a couple and it's like obviously a serious thing, it's not like I can just on a whim, like, fly to somewhere. Like, it has to be discussed and it has to be a mutual decision. And it has to be something where, who knows, maybe one day we have a conversation of trying to do a traveling back and forth, or he might have to look for something if I have a really good opportunity, which I've had these conversations with him before. And it's a really tricky thing because, again, just because I do want that valuable time with him, which if you've ever taken like the what are your love languages quizzes, which you should, 5 love languages, I always have, you know, my 2, and I think I did it for him once, and like his 2 were different from mine. So like, again, we show love in different ways. I don't know, even lately, no joke, I've been thinking, you know, all this free time, if I ever want to get a master's, I want to go to NYU and do film at the Tisch School of Arts and get my master's there, obviously, if they accept me. That's just something that's always been in my mind. And like lately, it's been like a lot in like the last 2 days because I'm just like, this would be the time, right. You know? But again, then I ask myself, like, okay, that's a great idea in theory, but then like, how am I going to have a relationship? Because at the same time,
this is a huge thing though. So there's so many people, and I feel like it's always like the girl always throws away her life for the guy, and like, but that's like, which I'm like, no, they can do that for me. Like
I agree. I don't like that idea either. I don't support that either. Like
so
the throwing away your life situation, totally disagree. But when you're in a relationship, there's compromise. So that's the part that you have to really understand, and that's where you find a balance, because at that point you say, what's best for you? What's best for him? What's best for both of you? And you have to find a middle ground. So let's just say I apply to NYU. I get accepted. I can't sit here and theorize about the future without having a letter saying, okay, you can actually go, right?
This is approved.
Right. Like, I have to get accepted first. Like, sitting here and being like, oh, what if? You don't know until you get it. So at least try. So it doesn't mean I'm stopping myself from trying. I still am applying to places that are not in Miami for jobs. And let's wait and see until someone says a yes. Then when that happens, then we have, which mind you, I matured in this way in this relationship, by the way, because I didn't think like that. I would always think of the future like more than I do now. And I'm like, okay, let's just say I get accepted to NYU the same way I said, do the master's thing, blah, blah, blah. How the hell would I manage it? Of course, in school, I don't know how the program is, but I would assume like you're not there Monday through Friday. I would assume. I could be wrong. If there's, you know, let's just say you do the school thing for 3 days a week or whatever. Maybe I can fly back on the weekends if he has to do his thing. But again, in our case, he's the busiest on Fridays and Saturdays. Who knows? Like, I'd have to figure it out. Like, maybe on Friday, Saturday night, I'm going to have to be at the venues having a cocktail while he's working, and we just kind of see each other in the atmosphere. Because to be honest, if I'm being real, I mean, once all the venues are open again, which they're going to be very soon, like full on, I mean, I don't like see him Monday through Friday. I mean, it's like, it's super rare that like on a Monday or Tuesday night, maybe I'll make us dinner because he comes home a little earlier. But like, we don't really see each other.
You
that
do not
much.
have he doesn't have a 9 to 5. And I think that's also something that's like very, neither did my ex. So that is also something that you have to figure out. When neither of you have a 9 to 5, you have to figure out how to make it work, or else it's not going to work.
If it's manageable, maybe, but again, who knows? That could totally destroy your relationship. Like, you never know.
I have a huge problem trusting people, just because I think people just want to use you. I mean, and I'm not even at like the highest level. It's not like we have like 9 million followers and I'm hosting E-News. Like, that's not even happening yet. So, but it still does happen. I mean, you get the, hey, so those tickets to that show. I'm like, go away. Like, no. People take advantage of you at any level if you have some sort of something, especially down here, because there's so much to do. It's not like we live in the middle of the nowhere and we have one club and one whatever. Like, there's so much opportunity here, and the both of us are very much so well connected. I'm so hesitant opening up to people and even bringing someone else into the narrative, because it's I just don't trust people.
I mean, in one sense, I do feel really lucky that we met each other before me getting into media again. Or like in a public spotlight. He's had he had like a whole career in Italy before he moved here. So his name is like very well known, like from his father and him and stuff. So he's been through the whole, like, I swear we gotta have him come on one day, because like we need to. He was a director of Benetton Group in Europe. So that's a pretty big title. And
so if you don't know what that is, explain it.
It's like a huge department store. I mean, Benetton was a huge group. It's a humongous group. I mean, it's worldwide. It was here too in the States, but he was managing the European sector. Yeah, no, one time he had told me that like on the outside of one of the buildings that he was living in, like somebody graffitied like that they want to, like, I don't know if it was like, I don't want to say the word kill, but it was like along those lines of like, yeah. So like, he understands this world too. So that's definitely like a perk, because again, who knows like where we go on this journey, but if things start to when things blow up and we get to that certain point, I mean, he'll definitely have an understanding, which is a bonus. And I feel lucky not to have to worry about like being in the dating world of people using me for that reason. But I know that down the line, it's definitely going to be a topic of conversation, I'm sure, of jealousy and stuff. Like, it's gonna start to happen, because even now, like, he's told me when I've been doing like IG lives with Racquel, and people that like are listeners from the radio, some of the comments on your IG live, like, I can't watch the live. Like, he's like, I gotta separate myself, because like people will like say stuff about like our chest, or like how beautiful or how much they love or whatever, and like this is literally just like, I don't know how many people. So imagine like, down the line. He's in the same boat too. Like, just because he's not in public, a public figure, like outside. I mean, he's kind of a public figure within his company, because the more time that he's gonna spend there, like he's been part of the company. He started on, actually when I started on air, so we both kind of blew up at the same time. It's funny. It's the same thing. I mean, you don't think that there's bajillion gorgeous women with, plastic surgery, not plastic surgery, that they work out every goddamn day of their life, that are walking in and out of these venues every single day. So trust me, it was a hard pill for me to swallow too, like him being in hospitality, because he's seeing all these beautiful women all the time. And who knows, like, I'm not there to see what someone says, or if they touch his shoulder, or if they try to anything, you know what I mean?
That's what I would explain. I'm like, I'm here with you. I'm leaving with you. Like, why are you? Because he had brought up once too. I forgot this happened. I'm like thinking, I tried to block it out of my memory, but now we're going there. We had a conversation one time, and it was like, well, you can have anybody you want. Like, we literally went on a walk from his apartment to go get dinner. He lives in downtown Fort Lauderdale, so we could walk, and and he was like, oh, everyone always just is looking at you, and I'm just like, but I'm with you. I'm confused. Like, what are you? Interesting. I always say, like, if you're in your relationship and you're not like locked in with that person, and you start like looking at other, people in that way, like there's definitely a problem going on.
I think in general, in relationships in general, whether you're just dating or whatever that be, it's really difficult to be confident all the time. It really is. Like, even if you're a confident person, I mean, unless you're like a narcissist, which is like another level, like, yeah, I mean, it's not easy to see your other half like being, you know, noticed and attention or so much attention. But then again, like you said, it's like finding the right person that can either have the not even just handle, because sometimes you can't. Like, sometimes I can't. Sometimes Andrea can't. But then you have to have the conversations of like, kind of like grounding yourself again, or like, okay, here we are. Not just for guys, but for girls too. Like, I know it's really difficult for a lot of men to see their partner more successful than them. I have had this conversation with Andrea. I've been like, what if one day I were to make more money than you? Just one day. Or if I were to be, you know, such and such role in the world, you know, how would you feel about that? Like, would you still be with me? Would you still be able to stand next to me knowing that you have like this powerhouse next to you? It's not easy.
All of my friends, 99% of them, are trying to do something very big with their career, whether they're in advertising, marketing, social media, influencers. Everyone's trying to make their own brand, which I think is amazing. And I think the fact that we can even do this and have that kind of, you know, it be okay as women in society, I think is just the greatest thing ever. And so it kind of has to, the conversation has to shift a little bit. You know, there are people now who the dads are the stay-at-home dads and the women are working, and they're not saying that's what I'm going to be in the future, but they're, like Natasha was just saying, you know, when Millennial Girls blows up, we're manifesting, you know, that conversation's going to probably have to be had again. And everyone's always like, how are you single? You're so great and you're, you know, fun. And I'm just like, well, Mom.
You have to choose what you want from a relationship. Like, it's not just about, okay, this person checks off this on my list, or I'm physically attracted and this is, you know, I'm physically attracted and this is the age and this is the height and this is the job and this is how much money. Something has to give. Like, you don't get perfect, and we aren't either. So, you know,
Correct.
Signing up for, you know, the relationship, or like, let's say
I'm a lot.
I make the choice, whether like I could have been like, you know what, I love everything about him, but he doesn't have abs and I really need that body. I know it sounds shallow, but it's normal. A lot of girls like that shit.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, of course it's nice. And even for myself, I wish I had, you know, Cindy Prado's body or something. Yeah, like, you know, trust me, I'm the same too. I'm sure that, like, who knows who he dated previous to me, and maybe they were like really thin or whatever, and I'm not like that. So we could sit here all day and be like, oh, you know, you didn't mark this off my list, and we could have gone our separate ways, and that was the end of that. You know what I mean? But I made that choice, and that's what got us forward. I mean, obviously he asked me to like go on a date, and then, yeah, I mean, I said yes or no, right? But,
now we're engaged.
but yeah,
I'm in the engagement.
Every successful couple that I've either talked to or I've watched interview, like, to me, a successful couple is where there's some sort of harmony and they're still together for a long time. Okay, like a David and Victoria Beckham, or you know,
favorite,
or Will Smith and like Jada Pinkett, or like, I mean, they've gone through like the trials and tribulations with like the previous marriages and stuff. Even my aunt and my uncle, they're still together. Again, I'm not saying any of these are like the ideal perfect relationship. I mean, I don't live it, but they're still together and they still have rapport with each other. They still like each other, you know?
Yeah. My parents have been together since they were 13.
I look at interviews of people, like, I've looked at interviews of David Beckham and Victoria Beckham before, and like they talk about, like, I mean, there was a whole like cheating scandal that was supposedly out there with David Beckham, and then Victoria, like, they had a serious conversation about it, and like that it wasn't true, whatever, but it took a toll on her and getting over all those humps. I mean, even oh my gosh, what's his name? They've been together forever. Yes. Like them, for example. Again, I'm not saying they're like a model couple, but they got, you know, they went through his alcoholism for a good period of their life, and
Keith Urban is the same too, and Nicole Kidman.
See, they came out of it, but I mean, again, it depends on what you're willing to compromise. So are you willing to compromise the cheating? Are you willing to compromise and I know it sounds bad, but obviously people, they get over it. the alcoholism or, you know, whatever addiction it is that they might have? Is it...
I mean, look at Scott and Courtney. That's like a whole...
Is it like a weight thing? Can you get over that? Like, you know, like the eating or the weight? Is it a money thing? I mean, you have to ask yourself those questions. Yeah. And at the end of the day, what are your values? And if your values are alike, I think that'll always keep your foundation solid.
Preach, just louder for the people in the back. I mean, just know, single ladies, you're not out there alone. Of course, you know, your parents put pressure on you when you get older, and it's just so annoying.
And you know what's funny? In my case, it's always been the complete opposite. So it's like been this whole thing of always like everyone warning me of not to like get locked down and to make
okay.
It's the complete opposite for me. One of like my biggest goals in life, I think because I came just from divorced family, is I wanted my marriage to be solid. And the one thing that I do succeed in more than my career and more than my school and more than my family, which that's, now that I'm saying that, I'm putting the marriage thing on a pretty high pedestal. So I kind of, I almost feel now, I'm going to tell Andrea this after, I almost kind of feel bad because it's like, this is how much pressure I'm kind of putting on the relationship and like how much is on the line for us, because it's really important to me. I feel like now with today's world, it's shifted so much that obviously like women have a lot more potential, a lot more power, a lot more say, which is amazing, because I can't even imagine living in a world that was not that long ago that we didn't have rights. Not long ago. That we didn't have rights. Like, it blows my mind.
There's still a glass ceiling too with work, so...
Of course. But still, like, us personally, we've always kind of lived in a world where we've been able to, like, have a voice. I'm not saying it's perfect and whatever, but it's crazy to me to think that there was a world not that long ago that we couldn't even vote. Like,
right.
Women, be appreciative, be grateful of those that came before us not that long ago. Like, we just got these rights, so let's, you know, embrace it and be grateful for it. I know that, like, everybody complains about, oh, being a woman in the industry and this difficult and so hard. I agree and I get it. I totally sympathize, empathize. I understand. I've dealt with it myself. But also, like, let's be grateful of what we can actually do now, because we weren't able to do this not that long ago. And I think that that's also kind of been a change in the dynamic in relationships. I've said this to my father before. I say, women are very used to being independent now and getting to do what they want. And it does have a toll. It affects relationships now, because it was always, you know, more predominant with the male. You didn't have like the stay-at-home dads was not a usual thing. And so the man always kind of was the breadwinner, or was the one that made the decisions in the household. And now that it's, let's say, more even keel, I think it's not easy for men to adapt to that too. Like, we have to empathize with guys having to be able to understand, like, you can have a powerhouse next to you or someone even stronger than you next to you, and being able to swallow that and get over your pride. Ego is not easy. It's not easy. But I think that with us women, we have to also be able to compromise. And it's not easy for us to compromise, because now we're like, I can do it. I can have it my way, and I have it how I want. And I think that that's a lot of reasons why it's troubling for single women to get into long-term relationships too. We're also so independent now that we think it's like our way or the highway, and we need to adapt too. I'm totally not like anti-feminist, I swear. I believe in us and our power and what we can do, and I think a strong man needs a strong woman next to him, and vice versa. But we have to learn to compromise a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
single as a Pringle.
Snap, snap, snap. Single as a sun chip.
Single as a sun chip. Oh my God, that's the new. I'm gonna make that some merch. That's our new hashtag. Yes. Oh my gosh. Wait, that's amazing. Single as a sun chip.
We gotta do that.
That's incredible. Okay. I think too, though, that wrapping this up is, if, you know, you are in my situation in the single life. Like, I think one thing I've learned too is like not to put pressure on yourself about, you know, why am I not meeting anyone? Why am I not that? Like, it's gonna happen. Even when I met my ex, that was the last thing on my mind I was even thinking about, and it just kind of happened, and I learned a lot from that relationship, even though it didn't go very far. But, you know, it's definitely, don't be depressed about being single. And I think that's just something that our culture does too. Like, we need to kind of adapt in that aspect too. Like, oh, you're single. Like, there's all those movies like 27 Dresses and all of those that like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But like, you do you, girl. Like, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. Everything happens for a reason. I believe in that wholeheartedly, all aspects of life. And, you know, you can drink wine and cry if you want to, but like, get back to it. Let's go.
And trust me, I've done it all. Like, I was single not that long ago too. It's part of it. I was the same as Racquel. I wasn't looking for anything either. I had been wishing, and I've said this before, I kind of like wrote out like, you know, what kind of man I wanted. And I don't call it a list because I feel like a list is like, do you remember when like, what's her name from TLC? Chili. She had that whole dating show for a while, like where she would like go on dates with guys and stuff. Yeah, she had a whole dating show.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, she was like super duper single. Like ever since her like Usher cheated on her, like everyone felt bad. But then like she was so picky, like you can't, like no one would ever be able to satisfy this lady. At least that's how they portrayed her on TV.
This lady.
Anyways.
This lady.
Anyways, long story short, like with her, or like if you were watching Millionaire Matchmaker, because I sure was, and I was reading
with Vinny.
I was reading that book. Like I did my work. Like I read the books and I did my study. Like I was a big Matthew Hussey fan. I was subscribed to his YouTube. Like
before he was dating Camilla.
Oh, way before. I read his book too, I think, How to Get a Guy or something. This is kind of embarrassing, like if guys are listening, but yes, I did read them. And it was helpful because it gives you the inside of, you know, kind of like the guy's brain or whatever. And not to say that you adapt yourself, but like, yeah, everybody would say like, don't write out this like list of like, he needs to make this many dollars and he has to have this kind of body and he has to be 6'5" and he has to have brown hair with blue eyes and, you know, this kind of hair, curly hair, not straight. Like when you're doing that kind of a list, like, like
that's a lot. No, yours wasn't. I mean, it was a list, but it wasn't a list. It was more of like characteristics that you wanted in the person.
Yeah. Doesn't mean washboard abs and whatever, but like, doesn't go like all the way off the woozy and is like needs a custom bathtub. Like we're not
the woozy.
Like, we're not trying.
What is that saying?
I don't know. We're having lots of sayings today. We could do lots of merch from this episode.
Off the woozy.
But long story short, yes, like it was, you know, loyal, that respects me. I think that if every single person out there really wants something, one thing is to really want it, and one thing is to be like, I'm single, but or I want to have fun. That's enough. If you're in the I want to have fun phase, or you verbally say I want to have fun, but like deep down you want a relationship, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Because been there, done that from experience. So when you actually want to have something real, like if you feel like, okay, I want it, if you feel ready for it,
if you're at that point in your life,
you have it in the back of your mind, you manifest that. Maybe you write out your like little list, like how I said, not like the crazy one, like the normal one. And then it comes. You work on yourself. Like I got to the point where I was not focused on, oh, I need a guy next to me. I was so into my time by myself, and I was into my job. And then I met Andrea. It sounds so cliche, and everyone says it. When you're not looking for it, it comes to you. But it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it happened. So.
She's like, it happened with me. So yeah.
And then in like 2 years we get a divorce, and I know I'm just kidding.
Stop. Oh my God, knock on wood. No.
I know. I say it as a joke, but sometimes I'm like, God, like sometimes if I'm like
now you're manifesting that shit.
No, but I'm like sometimes I'm preaching it, and then like what if like one day everybody's like, who the hell was she?
But I feel like no. I mean, oh my God, I really want to know all your reactions to this video. I feel like people are gonna be like, preach, sister, louder for the people in the back. But I want to know also your thoughts and your experiences. I mean, you know, help a sister out. So
I hope you guys had fun with us because it was the first time in a while, long time coming, that we did, you know, our solo episode by ourselves.
Yeah. We knew that we wanted to do one by ourselves just because we've had so many cool guests on, but I think it's really great to have, we're going to do this more frequently, I think, do a couple guests and then do one by ourselves because we still want it to be, you know, our podcast.
We want to open up with you guys. Yeah, we want to open up with you guys and just like have that conversation and be like more personal with you too. Because it's so much fun to have the guests on, and we hope that you guys have been loving the guests so far. But I think that, you know, Racquel and I have stories to tell, and we want to share it with you guys and, you know, have a conversation with you too.
Totally. And of course, guys, follow us on social media, subscribe to our channel, all that good stuff. I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, washing your hands, doing what you got to do. You still got to wear masks, I know, here to go into places. So make sure you're just like following the rules and abiding by what's going on. But till next time, peace, love, unicorns.
Yes, peace,
we love you guys.
Unicorns. Make sure that you
Bye,
subscribe and ring the bell if you're watching on YouTube, because you get all the notifications every time that our video comes out. But of course, they come out on Wednesdays, and we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio app. So follow
Wednesdays,
us there.
10 a.m.
And support us. We love you guys.
We love you. Bye.